Chosen one. The whole town is whispering your name right now. You don't even know it, but your existence has turned into a headline in both heaven and hell, while you've been walking through your days feeling invisible, forgotten, overlooked. Something supernatural has been building around you like a storm nobody can see coming. Listen to me closely. This is not a drill. Right now, in living rooms across your city, people are mentioning your name in conversations you'll never hear. In boardrooms, behind closed doors, your energy is being discussed. Even in pulpits, your story is stirring something they can't quite name. You're like fire in a crowded theater. Everyone feels your heat. No one can ignore you, but most don't understand what they're sensing. Heaven has been watching. Hell has been scheming. And you? You've been walking through it all thinking you're just ordinary. But chosen one, your season of hiddenness is over. The spiritual atmosphere around your life just shifted. Can you feel it? That restlessness in your chest, that knowing in your bones that something's about to break wide open. That's not anxiety, that's anticipation. That's heaven getting ready to unveil what's been brewing in the secret place. They've been talking because they sense it. Your enemies feel the shift before your breakthrough manifests. Your name keeps dropping in conversations because your anointing is disrupting their comfort zones. Even people who barely know you can't stop thinking about you, and they don't know why. Here's what I need you to understand. This very moment, right here, right now, is your divine appointment. You didn't stumble onto this message. You were summoned. Heaven orchestrated your path to these exact words, because what you're about to hear has the power to rewrite everything. If you can feel this message burning in your spirit, if something inside you is saying, yes, this is for me, drop 777 the comments right now. Let the enemy know you're awake. Let heaven know you're ready. Let the universe witness that you know you are chosen. To every soul who's supported this mission through prayer, presence, or giving, you're not just helping a channel grow. You're partnering with heaven to reach someone drowning in the dark. Your seed isn't just financial, it's spiritual warfare. But listen, beloved. If you turn away now, if you let distraction pull you from this moment, you'll miss the one thing heaven wrote specifically for you. The one revelation that could crack open the door to your destiny. Your name isn't just whispered in rooms you'll never see. It's written in books you can't imagine. It's echoing in dimensions beyond this world. Now breathe. Stay close. Lock in with me. Because what you're about to discover about why the whole city can't stop talking about you has the power to shift everything you thought you knew about your purpose, your calling, and your unstoppable rise. This is your hour. This is your message. This is your moment. Are you ready? Have you ever felt like your name was being dragged through conversations you'll never hear? Have you ever sensed that people were building entire narratives about your life while you weren't even in the room? Have you ever wondered why your reputation seems to precede you in ways that don't match who you really are? Chosen one, what I'm about to tell you will shake you to your core, but it will also set you free. Right now, across this city, across this nation, there are whispers about you that you cannot hear. But here's what the enemy didn't count on. Those same whispers are actually prophecies in disguise. Every lie being told about you is creating the very stage for your vindication. Every twisted story is weaving the backdrop for your triumph. You see, there's something about your energy, your calling, your divine assignment that makes people uncomfortable. They can't put their finger on it, but they feel it. Like a storm cloud everyone pretends not to see, you carry an atmosphere that disrupts their false peace. Your very presence exposes what they're hiding. Your authenticity makes their masks itch. And so they talk. They dissect your choices. They question your motives. They create explanations for your success that have nothing to do with your character or God's favor. They whisper about your past, your present, even your future, as if they have some divine insight into your destiny. But chosen one, hear me clearly, they're not talking because you're failing. They're talking because you're rising. Think about Joseph. His own brothers couldn't stand the favor on his life. They sold him into slavery and told their father he was dead. For years, Joseph's name was whispered in shame, in scandal, in suspicion. Remember Joseph, the dreamer, the one who thought he was better than us? But God had already written the end of that story. Genesis 50-20 captures it perfectly. You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives. Every whisper about you is actually God setting up your testimony. But I know this hurts. I know what it feels like to walk into a room and sense that people have been talking about you. I know the weight of feeling misrepresented, misunderstood, deliberately mischaracterized. You've tried to defend yourself, haven't you? You've attempted to set the record straight, to explain your heart, to prove your intentions. But the more you explain, the more they twist your words. That's because this isn't really about you. This is spiritual warfare disguised as human gossip. The enemy knows something about your future that you're just beginning to understand. He knows that when you step fully into your calling, when you embrace the authority God has placed on your life, entire systems will shift. Generational curses will break. People will be delivered. Communities will be transformed. And that terrifies the forces of darkness. So they use the people closest to you, sometimes even family members, to plant seeds of doubt about your character. They whisper about your mental state when you start operating in spiritual gifts. They question your motives when God begins to bless you financially. They create conspiracy theories about your success when heaven starts opening doors that human hands couldn't unlock. But here's what they don't understand. Every word spoken against you in darkness is being recorded in heaven's court system. Every lie told about you is building the case for your vindication. Every false accusation is adding weight to your coming testimony. You are like the trumpet that's about to sound but hasn't blown yet. People can sense the power building. They can feel something stirring in the spiritual realm around your life. The atmosphere shifts when you walk into a room, and it makes them nervous. They don't know what's coming, but they know something is. Your enemies are talking because they're afraid. Your name keeps coming up in their conversations because your breakthrough is disrupting their comfort zones. They're trying to control a narrative they have no authority to write. But God has the final word. Right now, as they whisper and scheme and plot, heaven is preparing your platform. While they're trying to tear down your reputation, God is building your legacy. While they're questioning your character, the Most High is confirming your calling. The same voices that doubt you today will be silenced by your testimony tomorrow. The same people who question your anointing will have no choice but to acknowledge God's hand on your life. The same whispers that hurt you in private will become the very stories that prove God's faithfulness in public. Chosen one, if you've ever felt your name twisted, if you've ever experienced the pain of being misrepresented, if you've ever wondered why people can't stop talking about you even when you're trying to live quietly, type vindication in the comments right now. Because that's not just what's coming, that's what's already in motion. Your season of being discussed in darkness is ending. Your time of being vindicated in the light has begun. But the question that will determine everything is this: will you let their whispers define you, or will you let God's voice silence them forever? Because what happens next in your story will make every conversation they've ever had about you sound like the prologue to your greatest chapter. Chosen one, let me tell you something that's going to shake you to your core. Every whisper about you, every sideways glance, every conversation that stops when you walk into the room, it's not what you think it is. You've been carrying this weight, haven't you? this burden that feels like a scarlet letter burned into your chest. You lie awake at 3 in the morning asking God, why me? Why do they talk about me like this? Why won't they just leave me alone? Listen to me carefully, beloved. What if I told you that the very thing that's been breaking your heart is actually the confirmation of your calling? See, there's something about diamonds that most people don't understand. A diamond doesn't become brilliant sitting peacefully in the earth. No, it becomes magnificent only when pressure, immense, crushing pressure, transforms ordinary carbon into something so radiant it captures light and throws it back in ways that blind the darkness. You are that diamond, chosen one, and every whisper, every judgment, every cruel conversation behind closed doors has been the pressure God allowed to create something in you that couldn't exist any other way. But here's what's really happening in the spirit realm while they're busy running their mouths about you. The Bible tells us in Matthew 5:11, "Blessed are you when people insult you, persecute you, and falsely say all kinds of evil against you because of me." Did you catch that? Blessed are you, not cursed, not abandoned, blessed. Because when ordinary people become the topic of conversation, it means something extraordinary is stirring. When your name becomes a headline in their living rooms, boardrooms, and yes, even their prayer circles, it's because heaven has marked you for something so significant that hell itself has issued an all-points bulletin on your life. Think about this for a moment. When was the last time you spent hours talking about someone ordinary? When did you last lose sleep gossiping about someone who posed no threat to your comfort zone? You don't. None of us do. We only obsess over people who carry something we recognize but can't possess. We only whisper about those whose very existence challenges the limitations we've accepted in our own lives. They're not talking about you because you're a problem, chosen one. They're talking about you because you're a prophecy walking around in human flesh, and they can sense it even when they can't name it. Jesus himself said in John 15:18, "If the world hates you, keep in mind that it hated me first." The Son of God, perfect, sinless, healing the sick, raising the dead, and they still found reasons to whisper, to plot, to tear him down. What makes you think your journey would be any different? But here's where the plot twist comes in. Here's where God's sense of humor becomes absolutely breathtaking. Every person who's ever whispered your name in judgment has actually become an unpaid marketing agent for your destiny. Every conversation they've had about you has been free advertising for the move of God that's about to manifest through your life. They thought they were spreading gossip. God was spreading your influence. They thought they were destroying your reputation. God was building your platform. They thought they were isolating you. God was eliminating distractions so you could focus on your assignment. You see, chosen one, there's a spiritual law that most people don't understand. Isaiah 54:17 declares, "No weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue which rises against you in judgment you shall condemn." But look closer at that verse. It doesn't say the weapons won't be formed. It doesn't say tongues won't rise against you. It says they won't prosper. It says you will condemn them. That means God is so confident in your victory that he allows the enemy to waste time, energy, and resources building weapons that are destined to fail before they're even deployed. Every whisper about you has been prophecy in reverse. They've been speaking your greatness into existence without even knowing it. While they thought they were writing your obituary, they were actually drafting your biography. And now comes the beautiful reversal that only God could orchestrate. The same mouths that whispered lies about you in secret are about to be forced to declare your victory in public. The same people who questioned your character are going to witness your vindication. The same voices that said you'd never amount to anything are going to have front row seats to your elevation, because here's what they never understood about the power of being chosen. We don't become famous, we become unforgettable. We don't just succeed, we redefine what success looks like. We don't just overcome, we transform the very battlefields that were meant to destroy us into launching pads for our destiny. They didn't make you famous, beloved. They made you unforgettable. Because what they whispered in secret, God is about to shout from every rooftop in your city. What they tried to bury in darkness, heaven is about to illuminate with spotlights so bright that the whole world will have to acknowledge what was there all along. Your misunderstanding wasn't your punishment. It was your preparation. And now, chosen one, now comes the moment when everything they said couldn't happen begins to happen so fast it'll make their heads spin. But the question that will determine everything moving forward is this. Now that you understand the power of being misunderstood, what are you going to do with the authority it's given you? Chosen one, let me tell you something that's going to shake you to your core. While you've been questioning why your battles felt so intense, so personal, so calculated, there's been a hidden conspiracy operating against your destiny. But here's the divine twist that's about to blow your mind. Their own scheme is becoming the very rope that's strangling their reputation. You see, beloved, history has a way of repeating itself. Remember Bernie Madoff? For decades, this man built an empire of lies, convincing the world's wealthiest investors that he was a financial genius. $65 billion in fraud, hidden behind designer suits and charity galas. But here's what gets me, the very system he created to steal from others became the prison that locked him away for 150 years. His own elaborate deception became his death sentence. Are you starting to see the pattern here? Let me take you deeper. Think about Watergate. The most powerful man in America, President Nixon, orchestrating secret operations to destroy his opponents. Hidden recordings, covert meetings, lies stacked upon lies. But what brought him down? The very recording system he installed to protect himself became the evidence that ended his presidency. His own paranoia created the trap that caught him. Chosen one, this is how the universe operates. This is how divine justice moves. The enemy's plots don't just fail, they backfire with supernatural precision. But wait, there's more. Elizabeth Holmes and Theranos, remember her? Standing on stages in her black turtleneck, promising to revolutionize medicine with technology that never worked. $9 billion in fake value, built on pure deception. She thought she was untouchable, believed her own lies so deeply that she convinced Stanford professors, former secretaries of state, and billionaire investors. But what happened? The very media attention she courted to build her empire became the spotlight that exposed every fraudulent test, every fake demonstration, every fabricated result. Now, chosen one, I need you to lean in close, because what I'm about to tell you will connect these dots to your own story in a way that will give you chills. The Bible tells us in Esther chapter 7 about a man named Haman. This wicked advisor to the king built gallows 75 feet high that's 7 stories tall, specifically designed to hang Mordecai, God's chosen servant. Haman was so confident in his scheme, so arrogant in his hatred, that he built this monument to his own evil intentions. He probably walked past those gallows every day, smiling at his coming victory. But here's where God's justice gets poetic. The very gallows Haman built for Mordecai became the instrument of his own destruction. Esther 7:10 says, "So they hanged Haman on the gallows that he had prepared for Mordecai. The rope he measured for another man's neck became the rope around his own." Chosen one, are you hearing me? The enemy's whispers about you, the schemes they've plotted in secret, the traps they've set for your downfall, all of it is about to become the very mechanism of their own exposure. Let me tell you what's been happening while you thought you were losing. They've been whispering your name in rooms you've never entered, spreading lies they thought would never be traced back to them. They've built entire narratives to discredit you, formed alliances based on falsehoods about your character. Like Haman, they've been so confident in their deception that they've documented their own crimes. But chosen one, their whispers are becoming their own indictment. Every lie they've told is creating a paper trail of their deception. Every alliance they've built on false information is becoming a house of cards ready to collapse. Every secret meeting they've held to plot against you has been recorded in the courts of heaven. You want to know why the whole town is whispering your name? Because the enemy's scheme is unraveling so spectacularly that even their co-conspirators are starting to distance themselves. The very people they convinced to stand against you are beginning to question the narrative. The web of lies is so complex that they can't keep their stories straight anymore. Here's what happens when empires of deception crumble, and they always do. First, the small inconsistencies appear. Then, the witnesses start talking. Finally, the whole structure collapses under the weight of its own contradictions. We've seen it with Madoff, with Nixon, with Holmes. And chosen one, you're about to witness it with your own enemies. The whispers they started about you, those same whispers are now spreading the truth about them. The networks they built to tear you down, those networks are now questioning everything they were told. The reputation they tried to destroy, it's being restored while theirs crumbles to dust. Proverbs 26-27 says it perfectly. Whoever digs a pit will fall into it. If someone rolls a stone, it will roll back on them. They dug the pit. They rolled the stone. And now the laws of divine justice are in motion. Chosen one, their whisper campaigns are becoming the rope around their own reputation. Every lie they spread is tightening the noose of their credibility. Every scheme they hatched is becoming evidence of their true character. They thought they were destroying your future, but they were actually destroying their own. The whole city is whispering your name now, not in judgment, but in amazement. People are asking, how did they survive all that? How are they still standing? What kind of strength does that take? Your name has become synonymous with resilience, with divine protection, with the impossible made possible. But here's the question that's going to determine your next chapter. Are you ready for God to flip the tables completely? If you're ready for God to flip the tables, shout, "Tables are turning" in the comments right now. Chosen one, we need to talk about the whispers that cut the deepest, the ones that didn't come from strangers in coffee shops or enemies plotting in boardrooms. No, these whispers came from your own kitchen table, from the very voices that were supposed to speak life over you. Sometimes the cruelest betrayal wears the face of love. You see, while the whole town has been talking about your rising, there's been another conversation happening, one that's been going on for decades. Right inside your own house, right from the people who share your blood, your last name, your family photos. They've been whispering too, but their whispers weren't about your greatness. They were about your limitations, your failures, your impossibilities. Listen to me carefully. Some of you have been carrying voices in your head that were never yours to begin with. That inner critic that says, "You're not smart enough, you're too old, you missed your chance." That's not your voice, beloved. That's programming. Family programming. Like termites in wood, they weakened you from the inside where no one could see the damage. Every family dinner became a demolition site. Every holiday gathering, another opportunity to remind you of what you couldn't do, who you'd never become, why you should just accept your place in life. And the most heartbreaking part? They did it with smiles. They did it with concern. They wrapped their poison in phrases like, "I'm just being realistic and I don't want you to get hurt." But here's what they were really saying. Stay small so we can stay comfortable. You want to know why your own family fought your dreams harder than any stranger ever could? Because your success would expose their surrender. Your breakthrough would reveal their breakdown. Your rising would spotlight their settling. Jesus himself warned us about this in Matthew 10:36. A man's enemies will be the members of his own household. The Son of God knew that sometimes the sharpest swords come from the dinner table, not the battlefield. Think about it. When Joseph shared his dream with his brothers, they didn't celebrate him. They threw him in a pit. When David was anointed king, his own brother accused him of pride and rebellion. When Jesus returned to Nazareth, his hometown rejected him so violently he could do no mighty works there. Your family's resistance to your calling isn't new, chosen one. It's biblical. But here's where it gets personal. How many of you right now can hear a parent's voice echoing in your head? You're just like your father, always dreaming but never doing. Money doesn't grow on trees. People like us don't get those kinds of opportunities. How many of you have spent 50, 60, 70 years believing that who you are today is all you'll ever be? That the dreams burning in your chest at 65 are foolish because you should have accomplished them at 25? That's not God's voice. That's generational limitation speaking. Your mother may have meant well when she told you to be practical. Your father might have thought he was protecting you when he said don't get your hopes up. But practical isn't prophetic. Protection often becomes prison. And now, here you are, decades later, still hearing their voices louder than heaven's voice, still questioning whether God really has more for you at this stage of your life. Let me shatter that lie right now. Moses was 80 when God called him to deliver a nation. Abraham was 75 when God promised him descendants like the stars. Anna was 84 when she prophesied over the baby Jesus in the temple. Your family saw your age and said too late. God sees your age and says right on time. But the damage goes deeper than delayed dreams, doesn't it? Some of you have been carrying shame that was never yours. Guilt about choices you made while trying to please people who were never pleased. Regret about the person you became while trying to be who they wanted you to be. You've been living their version of your story instead of God's version. They convinced you that your sensitivity was weakness, that your compassion was naivety, that your faith was foolishness. They took every God-given gift and twisted it into a character flaw. But chosen one, what if I told you that everything they criticized about you was actually your superpower? What if your sensitivity is how God downloads revelation to you? What if your compassion is how He reaches others through you? What if your faith is the very thing that's been keeping you alive through decades of their doubt? The whispers from your house may have been loud, but they were never louder than the whisper from heaven that called you before you were even born. Jeremiah 1-5 says, "Before I formed you in the womb I knew you. Before you were born I set you apart. Blood gave you a name, but God gave you identity." And today, God's voice is louder than their whispers. Right now, as you're listening to these words, something is breaking. Can you feel it? Those invisible chains of family expectation, of generational limitation, of inherited impossibility, they're snapping. You are not too old. You are not too late. You are not who they said you were. But here's the question that's going to determine your next chapter. Will you keep living by their script, or are you ready to step into the story God wrote for you before time began? Because, chosen one, while your family was busy talking about your limitations, the entire spiritual realm has been talking about your liberation. Chosen one, lean in close because what I'm about to reveal will shake you to your core. Your greatest enemy looks exactly like you. Not physically, but spiritually, energetically. They mirror your gender, your ambitions, sometimes even your mannerisms. And this isn't coincidence. This is cosmic design. You see, the enemy you've been battling isn't just some random person who decided to hate you. They are what theologians call a shadow reflection, a distorted mirror of what you could have become if you had chosen bitterness over forgiveness, envy over gratitude, manipulation over integrity. The Bible tells us in 1 Samuel 18-9, Saul kept a jealous eye on David from that day on. Saul saw in David everything he once was anointed, favored, chosen. But instead of celebrating David's rise, Saul became consumed by what he saw reflected back at him, his own lost calling, his own squandered potential. Here's what's haunting. Your enemies studied you with the intensity of a scholar. They watched your moves, your patterns, your relationships. They memorized your strengths not to celebrate them, but to weaponize them against you. They learned your language not to speak life, but to twist your words into curses. Think about it. How many times did they seem to know exactly which buttons to push? How did they always know the precise moment to strike when you were most vulnerable? Because they weren't just watching you, they were studying the blueprint of what they could have been. But here's where it gets chilling, beloved. They didn't just study your external behavior. They studied your heart, your dreams, your deepest fears. They became experts on you while remaining strangers to themselves. Proverbs 27:19 says, "As water reflects the face, so one's life reflects the heart." Your enemy became obsessed with your reflection because looking at you was like staring into a mirror that showed them their own spiritual bankruptcy. You carried the light they extinguished in themselves. You walked in the favor they forfeited through their choices. You embodied the joy they traded for control, the peace they sacrificed for power, the love they rejected for revenge. And so they made you their project, their full-time occupation. While you were building, they were scheming. While you were healing, they were plotting. While you were ascending, they were descending deeper into the very darkness that created the chasm between who they are and who they could have been. But chosen one, here's what they never anticipated. The mirror is cracking. Every lie they told about you is now echoing in their own life. Every curse they spoke over your destiny is now manifesting in their reality. Every trap they set for your downfall has become the pit they themselves have fallen into. You see, when you attack someone who carries the reflection of your own lost potential, you're not just fighting them, you're fighting yourself. And nobody wins a war against their own soul. Romans 1:32 warns that those who practice such things not only do them, but give approval to those who practice them. Your enemy has been living in approval of darkness for so long, they've forgotten what light looks like, until they see it in you. And now, every time they look at your peace, they're reminded of their chaos. Every time they witness your breakthrough, they're confronted with their breakdown. Every time they see your joy, they're forced to face their misery. The very success they tried to prevent has become the mirror they can't escape. Your healing exposes their wounds. Your elevation highlights their stagnation. Your freedom magnifies their bondage. This is why they can't stop talking about you, chosen one. This is why your name stays in their mouth, because you have become the living, breathing evidence of what they threw away. You are the constant reminder of the road not taken, the choice not made, the calling not answered. But here's the supernatural twist that's about to blow your mind. God is using their obsession with you as their last opportunity for redemption. Every moment they spend studying your life is another chance for them to remember what they once carried. Every time they see your light, the Holy Spirit whispers to their darkened heart, "This could still be you." Jesus said in Matthew 5:44, "Pray for those who persecute you, not because they deserve it, but because prayer is the only force powerful enough to shatter a mirror that's been reflecting lies for so long." Some of them will see the cracks and choose to step through into the light. Others will become so terrified by what they see in the broken reflection that they'll shatter completely. But you, chosen one, you don't get to carry the weight of their choice. Your job was never to save them from themselves. Your job was to become so authentically you that the mirror of truth became impossible to ignore. And you've done that. Oh, how you've done that. The whispers in the town aren't just about your rise, they're about their fall. The conversations aren't just celebrating your breakthrough, they're mourning their breakdown. The city can't stop talking because they're witnessing the greatest reversal in spiritual history playing out in real time. You, who they tried to make invisible, have become impossible to ignore. You, who they attempted to silence, have become the loudest testimony of God's faithfulness. You, who they worked to destroy, have become indestructible. The mirror isn't just cracking, beloved, it's shattering. And with every piece that falls, their power over your mind breaks too. So tell me, chosen one, are you ready to be completely free from their reflection? Type mirror broken if you're done letting their distorted image define how you see yourself, because what's coming next will show you exactly why this spiritual shattering is preparing you for the greatest elevation of your entire life. Chosen one, do you hear that sound? That low rumble beneath your feet? That's not thunder in the distance, that's the sound of tables turning. Right now, at this very moment, Heaven's Justice Department is working overtime, and every whisper that once carried your name in mockery is about to become a shout of vindication. You've been walking through a season where it felt like everything was upside down. The guilty were celebrated while you suffered in silence. The liars were promoted while your truth was buried. The manipulators were applauded while your character was assassinated in boardrooms you never entered. But chosen one, listen to me carefully. God has been taking detailed notes, and his ledger is about to balance. Joel 2:25 declares with thunderous authority, I will restore to you the years that the swarming locust has eaten. Not some of the years, not a portion of what was stolen, all of it, with interest, with multiplication, with divine compound returns that will make your enemy's jaws drop to the ground. Can you feel that shift in the spiritual atmosphere? Those whispers that once slithered through your community like poison are turning into something else entirely. The same mouths that once spread lies about your character are starting to stammer when your name comes up. Why? Because the evidence is mounting. The truth is surfacing. The masks are slipping. Think about this for a moment, and I want you to really think about this. How many times have you wondered if God was even listening? How many nights did you cry yourself to sleep asking, where is my justice? When will they face consequences for what they did to me? You've watched them prosper while you struggled. You've seen them climb ladders built on the very lies they told about you. But here's what you didn't see happening in the invisible realm. Every tear you shed was collected in heaven's bottles. Every false accusation was documented in divine court records. Every stolen opportunity was marked with your name for future restoration. God wasn't sleeping, chosen one. He was strategically positioning every piece on the chessboard for this exact moment. Right now, and I mean right this second, closed doors that have been sealed against you for years are creaking open like floodgates. Opportunities that were blocked by human hatred are being unblocked by divine intervention. Relationships that were poisoned by lies are being purified by truth. Resources that were diverted from your path are being rerouted back to your doorstep. But here's where it gets really good. The people who whispered about your downfall are now whispering about your comeback. The same voices that once questioned your character are now questioning how you're rising so fast. They can't understand it because they don't understand the mathematics of divine justice. When God restores, he doesn't just give you back what was taken, he gives you back what you would have had if the theft never happened in the first place. That's not just restoration, that's divine interest. That's cosmic compensation. That's heaven saying, nobody touches my chosen one without facing the full force of my justice system. You want to know what's driving them crazy right now? It's not just that you're rising, it's how you're rising. With grace, with dignity, without revenge schemes or manipulation tactics. They expected you to fight dirty like they did. Instead, you fought with faith. and now they're watching divine warfare in action, and it terrifies them. Isaiah 54:17 promised you this moment. No weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue which rises against you in judgment you shall condemn. Did you catch that? Every tongue. Not some tongues, not most tongues. Every tongue that rose against you will be silenced by the sound of your victory. The reversal happening in your life right now is so dramatic, so undeniable, that even your enemies will be forced to acknowledge it. But here's the beautiful irony. The same mouths that mocked you will one day say, "We always knew they were special. We always believed in them." But heaven knows the truth. You were always chosen. They were always wrong. This isn't just your personal vindication. This is a demonstration to everyone watching that God's justice system never fails. Your story is becoming a living billboard that reads, "Don't mess with God's anointed." But listen carefully to what I'm about to tell you next, because this is where your responsibility kicks in. With great restoration comes great stewardship. The doors that are opening for you now aren't just for your benefit. They're for the benefit of everyone you're called to impact. The platforms you're about to step onto aren't just for your vindication, they're for your mission. God is restoring you not just to bless you, but to position you as a blessing. Not just to heal you, but to make you a healer. Not just to restore your voice, but to give you a voice that can restore others who are still trapped in the same pit you just climbed out of. Can you handle this level of favor? Can you carry this weight of divine endorsement? Because what's coming next in your story will require spiritual muscles you've never had to use before. If you're ready for your payback season, if you're ready to walk into rooms that once rejected you and watch them roll out red carpets, if you're ready to see your name vindicated in the very places where it was once dragged through the mud, declare restoration in the comments right now. But know this, chosen one, what you're about to step into next will challenge everything you thought you knew about your own capacity for greatness. Chosen one, I need you to stop everything you're doing right now and lean into what I'm about to tell you. Because while the whole city has been whispering your name, while enemies have been plotting in boardrooms and back alleys, while the darkness has been scheming to take you out, heaven assigned you the ultimate bodyguard. You think you've been walking through this life alone. You think those close calls, those narrow escapes, those moments when everything should have destroyed you, but somehow didn't you think that was luck? Let me shatter that illusion right now. Archangel Michael himself has been assigned to you, not to your church, not to your family, not to some general group of believers, to you, personally, specifically, by divine decree from the throne room of God. Do you understand what that means? This is the same warrior who cast Satan out of heaven, the same angel who stands before the very presence of God, the commander of heaven's armies, and he's been walking beside you every single day, every single hour, every single breath you've taken. Psalm 91:11 isn't just a pretty verse on your grandmother's wall, it's your reality. For he will command his angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways. But this isn't just any angel, beloved. This is Michael, the one whose very name means, "Who is like God?" Think about the President of the United States for a moment. Secret Service agents surround him 24/7. They know every threat before it materializes. They have technology that can stop bullets mid-air. They create security perimeters that are absolutely impenetrable. Now multiply that protection by infinity, add supernatural power that transcends every dimension, and you're just beginning to understand what's covering your life right now. While you've been feeling vulnerable, exposed, like a target with nowhere to hide, Michael has been creating an invisible fortress around you that no weapon can penetrate. No bullet, no plot, no curse, no scheme, no manipulation, no spiritual attack. Nothing can touch you, because touching you means going through him first. And chosen one, nobody, and I mean nobody, gets through Michael. Remember when Daniel was thrown into the lion's den? Those lions didn't just decide to be vegetarian that night. An angel shut their mouths. When Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were thrown into the fiery furnace, they didn't develop supernatural heat resistance. The Son of God himself walked with them in the flames. And when the enemy comes for you, whether through gossip, betrayal, financial attack, or spiritual warfare, Michael steps between you and destruction. But here's what's going to blow your mind. Your enemies can sense him. They don't know what they're sensing, but they feel it. That's why their attacks keep failing. That's why their schemes backfire. That's why every weapon they form against you crumbles before it even reaches you. They're not just fighting you, they're going up against the warrior who defeated the devil himself. Revelation 12:7 tells us exactly who we're dealing with. Then war broke out in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon and his angels fought, but they did not prevail. The same Michael who won that cosmic battle is the one standing guard over your destiny right now. You want to know why you're still standing after everything they've thrown at you, why you're still breathing after every betrayal, why you're still believing after every disappointment. It's not because you're strong enough, though you are strong. It's because Michael has been deflecting arrows you never even saw coming. Every car accident that almost happened but didn't. Every disease that should have taken you but couldn't get a foothold. Every financial crisis that threatened to destroy you but somehow you made it through. Every relationship that was designed to break you but ended up making you stronger. Every door that slammed in your face only to have a better one open. That wasn't coincidence, chosen one. That was Michael doing what God commanded him to do, guard you in all your ways. But here's where this gets powerful beyond your imagination. They can see you, but they cannot touch you. They can whisper about you in their secret meetings, plot against you in their dark corners, spread lies about you in their echo chambers. But their words dissolve into dust the moment they leave their lips. Because you're not just protected by human security or earthly influence, you're covered by the warrior who makes demons tremble at the mention of his name. While they've been studying your weaknesses, Michael has been studying their strategies. While they've been setting traps, he's been dismantling them before you even knew they existed. While they've been aiming at your heart, he's been redirecting every shot back to sender. Do you feel that shift happening in your spirit right now? That's not just emotion, that's revelation breaking through. You're finally understanding that you haven't been fighting this battle alone. You've had heaven's finest warrior as your personal security detail this entire time. The enemy's greatest weapon against you has always been making you feel isolated, abandoned, forgotten. But how can you be forgotten when the angel who never sleeps has been watching over you? How can you be abandoned when the one who commands legions has made you his assignment? But chosen one, this protection isn't passive. It's not just defensive. Michael doesn't just guard, he advances. He doesn't just protect, he conquers. And as you step into this next season of your destiny, he's not just covering your back, he's clearing your path forward. The whispers about you across this city, they're about to become something entirely different. Because when people see someone walking with that kind of protection, that kind of authority, that kind of unstoppable momentum, the whispers change from gossip to awe. Are you ready to walk like someone who knows they're absolutely untouchable? Chosen one, let me tell you something that's going to shake you to your core. Those whispers in the town, those conversations behind closed doors, they weren't just about your money, your calling, or your destiny. They were desperately trying to sabotage the one thing that terrifies hell more than anything else, your divine union. You see, beloved, there's someone out there who carries the other half of your spiritual DNA, someone whose soul frequency matches yours so perfectly that when you two finally connect, The explosion of light will be seen from heaven to hell, and the enemy. The enemy has been working overtime to make sure that reunion never happens. Think about it. How many relationships have you watched crumble right before they bloomed? How many times have you felt that soul-deep connection with someone, only to watch confusion, miscommunication, and chaos tear it apart? How many nights have you laid awake wondering, God, where is the one you promised me? Let me ask you something that might sting. Have you ever noticed that your most powerful relationships always seem to self-destruct right when they're getting real? That's not coincidence. Chosen one. That's spiritual warfare at its most vicious level. Genesis 2:24 tells us, "Therefore a man shall leave his father and mother, and be joined to his wife, and they shall become one flesh." But here's what the preachers don't tell you. The enemy will move heaven and earth to prevent that divine equation from completing itself. Because when two chosen souls become one flesh, they don't just create a marriage, they create a spiritual nuclear reactor that can power revival, healing, and breakthrough for generations. The whispers in your town haven't just been about keeping you broke or keeping you small, they've been about keeping you alone. Because a chosen one in isolation is manageable. But a chosen one in divine union, that's an unstoppable force that makes hell tremble. Listen to me carefully, beloved. They've been planting seeds of doubt in your mind about love itself. They've convinced you that you're too much for anyone to handle. They've whispered that your standards are too high, that you're asking for too much, that maybe you're meant to walk this path alone. They've made you believe that the deep, soul-shaking love you crave is just a fantasy, a childish dream you need to outgrow. But what if I told you that every broken relationship, every failed connection, every heartbreak was actually divine protection? What if God has been shielding you from counterfeits, because the real thing, the one who's been praying for you while you've been praying for them, is finally ready to step into the light? You've been whispering prayers in the dark, asking God, when will you send them? But chosen one, what if they've been here all along, trapped in the same web of confusion and manipulation that's been wrapped around your heart? What if the very forces that have been keeping you isolated have been working just as hard to keep them blinded to who you really are? The enemy's strategy has been brilliant in its simplicity. Keep you both wounded, keep you both questioning your worth, keep you both settling for connections that drain you instead of align you. Because as long as you're both operating at 50% capacity, you'll never recognize each other when you pass on the street. But something has shifted in the spiritual realm, beloved. Can you feel it? That restlessness in your spirit isn't anxiety, it's anticipation. Heaven is about to orchestrate a reunion so divine, so perfectly timed, that even your enemies will have to admit they're witnessing the hand of God. Here's what's happening right now in dimensions you can't see. The spiritual interference that's been jamming your heart's frequency is being dismantled. The lies that convinced them they weren't worthy of you are being shattered. The fear that made you both run from love is being replaced with a knowing so deep it can't be shaken. Your divine counterpart is waking up to the truth about who you are. They're starting to see through the fog of manipulation and confusion. They're beginning to understand that what they thought was rejection was actually protection. What felt like abandonment was actually divine timing, holding you both back until you were strong enough to handle the magnitude of what you're about to create together. I need you to understand something, chosen one. This isn't just about romance. This isn't just about finding someone to share your bed and your bills. This is about spiritual completion. This is about two halves of the same eternal soul recognizing each other and creating something so powerful that it literally changes the frequency of everything around you. When Moses came down from the mountain, his face shone so bright the people couldn't look at him. When two chosen souls unite in divine alignment, they don't just glow, they become a lighthouse that guides other souls home. They become a power source that fuels miracles. They become living proof that God's promises are not just pretty words in an old book, they're reality waiting to be experienced. The whispers tried to convince you that you were asking for too much, that the kind of love you desire, the soul-deep, God-ordained, unshakable connection, was just a fantasy. But chosen one, heaven has written your reunion, and no whisper, no witchcraft, no manipulation can edit God's script. Right now, as you're hearing these words, the final barriers are crumbling, the last walls of separation are falling. The divine appointment you've been praying for is being scheduled in heaven's calendar, and nothing on earth can cancel it. Your twin flame isn't just coming back to you. They're coming back awakened, aligned, and ready to build the kind of love that makes angels weep and demons flee. If you're ready for divine alignment, if you can feel this truth burning in your spirit, type divine union in the comments right now. Let heaven know you're ready to receive what's been written in the stars since before time began. But here's what you need to understand as we move forward. This reunion isn't just going to heal your heart. It's going to unleash a power that will completely transform how the enemy sees you. Chosen one, as we reach the end of this sacred journey together, I need you to hold on to these truths like precious gems in your heart. Remember this: you are not invisible. While you've been walking through seasons feeling forgotten and overlooked, the whole town, both in heaven and on earth, has been talking about you. Your name carries weight in rooms you've never entered. Your story is being written in chapters you haven't even seen yet. Remember this: every whisper against you was actually a prophecy about your rise. Every attempt to keep you isolated was proof of the divine union waiting for you. Every broken relationship was God's protection, keeping you pure for the connection that will set your soul on fire and make hell tremble. Remember this: the enemy's greatest fear isn't your talent, your calling, or even your breakthrough. It's what happens when you fully understand who you are and step into divine alignment with the one heaven chose for you. But most importantly, beloved, remember that you are never walking this path alone. Even in your loneliest moments, even when the silence feels deafening, God is orchestrating a symphony of restoration around your life. And right here, right now, there's a community of chosen ones praying with you, believing with you, standing in faith for your complete victory. I want you to think about something as we close. If God brought you through everything you've survived so far, every betrayal, every setback, every night you thought you wouldn't make it till morning, don't you think? He's strong enough to bring you into everything He's promised. Don't you think the same hands that held you in the valley are powerful enough to crown you on the mountain? Now, before you leave this sacred space, I want to pray over you with the authority of someone who's watched God move mountains for His chosen ones. Father God, I lift up every precious soul who has heard this message today. You know their name, you know their pain, you know the whispers they've endured, and the promises they're still waiting to see fulfilled. Right now, I speak divine acceleration over their timeline. I speak supernatural favor over their connections. I speak holy alignment over their relationships. Lord, heal every broken heart that's listening. Restore every stolen dream. Return every blessing that was delayed but never denied. Open doors that no man can shut. Bring divine encounters that shift everything. Let them feel your presence so powerfully right now that every doubt dissolves and every fear flees. Send their twin flame, their divine counterpart, their heaven-ordained connection into perfect alignment. Let love find them in ways that only you could orchestrate. Protect their heart as they wait, and prepare them to receive the magnitude of what you're about to release. And Father, silence every whisper that contradicts your word over their life. Let them sleep tonight knowing they are chosen, knowing they are loved, knowing their story is far from over. In Jesus' mighty name, Amen. Chosen one, if this message stirred something deep in your spirit, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who needs to remember they're not forgotten. Drop a comment below and let us know what God spoke to your heart. Ask your questions. This community is here to pray with you, believe with you, and celebrate with you. Hit that subscribe button and join this family of chosen ones who refuse to walk alone. Because when we stand together, when we pray together, when we believe together, hell trembles and heaven moves. You are chosen. You are loved. You are not alone. And your greatest chapter? It's just beginning. Until we meet again, keep shining, keep believing, and keep watching for the divine appointments God is setting up in your life. This is your season. This is your time. Walk in it boldly.